After a 4-year-long battle, the Ripple SEC case is almost over, and in this video, I want to talk about exactly what comes next. Guys, we know that the SEC has been holding back Ripple from really being progressive in the United States and from XRP getting the mass adoption many of us have been waiting for. In this video, I want to talk about what changes and how things are going to look different when this case is finally over. Guys, I really do believe we are right around the corner from one of the biggest moments in Ripple and XRP history. I believe those massive moments are going to come as soon as this case wraps up. In this video, I want to talk about everything I think we're going to see and why I believe this is such a big deal. Like always, your support means so much to this channel. Thank you to everyone who takes the time to like these videos and subscribe to the channel. These two things really do mean so much. Also, if you ever need a place to buy some XRP, make sure to check out my favorite exchange Uphold down in the description of this video. With that said, though, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. Because I want to start out this video and just quickly talk about when we're actually expecting this case to wrap up, because the truth is it could be any moment now. Most of the high-profile attorneys on X who have been following this case from the start and have been extremely accurate in most of their predictions think that essentially July's the month it's probably going to end. August would be late for the case to end, and anywhere in the early fall time period, that would be abnormally late. So we're kind of in the time period right now where this case could end at any given moment. And we're kind of at the point, I believe, where a lot of people have stopped paying attention to how close we actually are. But the truth is any single day now, we could get an announcement saying that this case is officially over. And guys, when we get this announcement, it's actually over. The case as we know it is completely done with. Now, we can get into whether or not there's going to be an appeal in the case. Personally, I don't think that's going to happen. Jeremy Hogan, another high-profile attorney following this case, also doesn't think that's going to happen. We'll talk about that briefly later in the case on why I do not think there will actually be an appeal in this case. But the most important thing I want to be paying attention to in this video is exactly how things are going to change for Ripple and XRP. Now, I've talked about this before on the channel, but I think it is so important. And the reason I really want to bring this up is because there's a lot of people on X saying, hey, XRP already has clarity. If institutions wanted to use it, they would already be using it. They wouldn't be waiting for the case to wrap up. And while logically this makes a ton of sense, I don't actually think it's accurate. A lot of institutions are fully waiting for this case to be finished up. They want a bow on it before they start interacting with Ripple. And the reason why I always knew this was the case was because I have watched the SEC sue other companies before. Companies like Tesla when Elon Musk put out his 420 tweet. Now, guys, when Elon Musk put out his 420 tweet, most of Tesla's banking partners weren't impacted by anything happening at Tesla. There was no risk to them because the SEC was unhappy about one of Elon Musk's tweets. But a lot of Tesla's banking partners still went to Elon Musk and said, if you don't settle this case, we're not going to work with you until it's over. So right here, what are we seeing? We are seeing that despite all the logic saying that these banking partners had no reason to stop working with Tesla, they simply did not want to be involved in a company that was getting sued by the SEC. Now, if you take that same exact logic and apply it to what's happening right now between Ripple and the SEC, well, it would make a lot of sense that a lot of those same banking partners, a lot of those same big institutions wouldn't want to work with Ripple because they are in the case against the SEC. Most of them do not care that XRP got clarity already. They are saying, hey, we'll evaluate this when the case is wrapped up, when there's a bow on it, when we don't have to worry about anything. So I really do believe we have a massive amount of partners right around the corner who are ready to sign with Ripple, who have been watching this case play out. They have been watching Ripple beat the SEC. They have been watching the SEC fail to prove any fraud, fail to prove any wrongdoing, and instead actually prove that Ripple has been a very good company from the start and saying, hey, we have already seen that cryptocurrencies are about to dominate the financial system. We have already seen that we are moving towards a digital future. And now we know that Ripple, a company who wants to work with the institutions to help them get onboarded into this new financial system, they were essentially just vetted by the SEC. The SEC just sued them for 4 years and couldn't find anything that looked remotely bad on why we shouldn't be working with this company. So I actually think this is going to end up being a massive catalyst. we faced a huge headwind where no institutions in the United States wanted to touch Ripple. But I believe on the other side of this, it's actually going to be the exact opposite. A lot of these institutions are going to be looking at all these other cryptocurrency companies and saying, hey, just like Ripple just went through a 4-year long battle, any one of these companies can be next. But Ripple's already on the other side of this. And not only that, the SEC couldn't actually find anything that looked bad or damning. And therefore, we are ready to step up and actually start utilizing Ripple's technology and using XRP, the digital asset. Guys, based on what the institutions are telling us right now, I don't think there's any lack of demand. BlackRock themselves has come out multiple times now and said the future is tokenized. The future is public blockchains. BlackRock themselves has even said, we thought the future was going to be private blockchains. They're just part of the equation. The holy grail is the public blockchain. And this is so critical that you wrap your head around it because the public blockchain is the protocols you and I already own. The people like BlackRock, right? They spun up their private ledgers for their own internal services, but that's not really what blockchain aims to solve. Blockchain aims to solve public distribution of money across the world. And in a private database, you simply do not achieve any of these things. You just have better accounting. But when you hook it up to the internet itself and have the ability to be interoperable with every different money transmitting protocol, suddenly you create a brand new financial layer built directly into the internet that can touch every single human on earth. This is drastically more powerful than private blockchains, and this is why BlackRock and a lot of the other major institutions are coming out and saying now, hey, we need to embrace this technology, we need to regulate it, and we need to build strategies around it. Ripple is in the perfect place to benefit from this transformation, this institutionalization of the blockchain system. And one of the things we know is, right, Ripple's always had some of the best tech out there. I don't think institutions are really going to be too excited about having their customers paying $1,500 transaction fees and waiting 15 to 30 minutes for a transaction to execute, right? That's never going to work. The other thing is Ripple's built the XRP ledger right since day one in not having smart contracts on it, but building native functionality into the blockchain itself. So you don't really have to worry about some developer group building a smart contract DEX on the XRP ledger, and ultimately that DEX having a vulnerability and there being a massive hack. Because in the XRP ledger's case, you build into layer one, you build directly into the XRP ledger itself. Essentially, the XRP ledger is the DEX, and you're just counting on the XRP ledger to function properly as the XRP ledger has done since 2013. So what we're watching right now is the XRP ledger being positioned perfectly for institutions. Not only is the tech there, not only does the tech look ripe to really be able to onboard this activity, but also we are sitting in the perfect place for clarity. We were just vetted by the SEC. We just proved to the SEC, hey, we're one of the most reliable players in this industry. And therefore, I think we are in the perfect place to onboard these institutions when the case is over. Now, the one caveat I want to put on this is, will there be an appeal? Because if we do see an appeal, I think it's going to further delay a lot of these institutions walking in. I don't think these institutions are going to say, okay, well, Ripple won the first time, therefore we're going to work with them even through an appeal. The big institutions want this thing buried. They don't want this ever coming back. They don't want the PR of working with someone being sued by the SEC. They don't want their customers to ask about it. They just don't want to touch it. But I actually don't think that the SEC is going to appeal this case. One, Gary Gensler already has so much political pressure on him, it's insane. He has Democrats now rallying against him, saying that he is hurting their chances of re-election. What we know is the SEC's approach of going after the good players and letting the bad players run free has not been a good approach politically, and in fact, it's really hurt them. So I don't think Gary Gensler is going to be able to sue Ripple again, to be able to appeal this case. Also, what's so important to understand is even if they did decide they wanted to appeal this case, even if they did want to bring Ripple to the Second Circuit, they couldn't bring new facts forward. They couldn't bring any new evidence to the case. They'd be stuck with the evidence they already had. What's the big issue with that? Well, based on the evidence they brought the first time, Judge Torres determined via dicta that XRP was not a security. So this is not something the SEC is going to be able to change. They're stuck with XRP not being a security. What is left for them to really appeal? It's just that XRP traded on the secondary market isn't a security. And when Ripple sells to institutions, that's sometimes a security. When you look at it that way, why would you really appeal that if you're the SEC? You actually got a pretty good ruling. You now have Ripple having to register if they sell to institutions in a certain way, but you can't argue XRP itself being a security. And that's what the SEC's whole goal was. So if they can't go down that avenue, what's really the point of appealing? I believe the SEC is going to choose to go after other players. I think the SEC likes their chances against someone like a Coinbase far greater than against a Ripple. And therefore, I believe that when this case is done, we are going to see nothing. We are going to see low activity, maybe price movement. We could get big price movement, but no big partnerships is what I'm really talking about for a quarter or two. I think these institutions are going to sit back and just look, see what happens, see if the SEC appeals. But as soon as that window for an appeal expires, that's when I think the fireworks are going to go off. That's when I think we're going to see institutions stepping in a massive way. And that's when I believe we might see one of the biggest movements we have seen yet in institutional adoption, real utility coming into the cryptocurrency market. Guys, after a 4-year-long battle, we are finally at the end of this. I could not be more excited for what's on the other side. And the most important thing I believe is that through all this pain, through this entire case, through everything we have had to deal with, Ripple was banging on all cylinders, landing partnerships all around the world, landing central banks to be working with. XRP remained in the top 10. If we were able to do all this inside of the Ripple SEC case, just imagine what's going to happen on the other side. Guys, thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed this update. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe. It really does mean so much. And for now, Mickle out.